Heightened security at the Colorado State Capitol tonight as lawmakers return for a brief session. Denver 7 political reporter Megan Lopez is joining us live tonight with details on day one. Megan.
And today was certainly not like any of the opening days that we're used to seeing here at the Colorado State Capitol. As you mentioned, increased security, about none of that pomp and circumstance that you're used to seeing during the opening days, and already some drama. So it was likely going to be a later night for the House, and that's because they were debating rules to even be able to start getting to work until about 4:45 p.m. They can adjourn for the night, but they're trying to pass some bills within 3 days dealing with COVID, and there's a process to that. So if they're planning on getting out by Friday, they have to do it today. Now, one of the bills fixes a law that passed in the special session that provides relief to minority-owned businesses. There was a legal challenge to it, so they say they need to fix some of the wording. Another one will help occupational therapists work remotely legally during COVID, and there's a few other fixes that they say they need to make.
In terms of deadlines are expiring on debt collection, deadlines are expiring on allowing elderly Coloradans to sign their wills remotely. And we're making sure that we're cleaning up some things that we didn't get exactly right during the special session to make sure money can get out to businesses that need it most.
Political parties coming up in the next few weeks will hold organizational meetings where they'll elect their chair and vice chair. And one of the bills that you'll see during the 3 days will authorize those organizations to hold their organizational meetings remotely.
So really, we're only talking about 6 or 7 bills that are going to pass in these 3 days. The real work will begin in mid-February after the recess and after the legislature reconvenes. Lawmakers told me they're hoping that COVID numbers are low enough at that point that both lawmakers and the public will be able to participate in the process. And of course, legislators were offered the vaccine, so they're hoping to be vaccinated by that point. I'm live in front of the Colorado State Capitol. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
Megan, thank you. Pitkin County will slide to level red because of a sharp rise in cases of coronavirus.
Denver 7's Sean Dole spoke with the people behind the decision and with those who will be most affected by it.
Thanks for calling me.
Meat and cheese restaurant in Aspen isn't serving the numbers it's accustomed to this time of year.
It's unfortunate.
Monday's decision by the Pitkin County Board of Health to move back to level red this weekend, closing all indoor dining, is only adding to their pandemic problems.
I'm really tired today just because of the amount of energy that we've all put in, and it's a lot for sure.
Pitkin County has one of the highest incidence rates in the state, which prompted this whole move, but for an area that thrives on tourism, this really hurts.
We really felt like it was time to take more significant action.
It's not a move the county says they wanted to make, especially in the middle of tourism season.
These are our busy times, and so this is a particularly painful time for our business community.
Since the county began mandating affidavits from all tourists in December, more than 45,000 tourists have signed in. Numbers that add insult to injury with the health department's decision.
Mountain's still open, hotels are still, they're still rocking.
Well, not exactly. The number of international visitors has plummeted, and the slopes here are accessible without a reservation.
We're not really hitting the limits that we set for ourselves right now, so we haven't had to undertake any additional limitations.
Which helps, despite the resorts needing to stop indoor dining themselves.
It impacts us less than it impacts the restaurants down in town.
We've had the lowest number of people in the lodge since we reopened for the winter.
Aspen's lodging industry has kept up with those tourists who are still coming. It's why this is one industry that's on board with the decision.
It's the right thing to do. It's really the only thing to do, and we have a very small hospital.
Allison Campbell says she understands the short-term impact comes with some pain.
Being in the red is a bad thing, but we're going to fix it. And, I think we're taking the right stands on it as a community, and I think it's still okay to come here.
Restaurants hope to get 5-star variance approval from the state. To get it, there needs to be a 2-week drop in the infection numbers first.
It's kind of saddening.
The county says this is a tough call. The hope is it will head off an even tougher winter and spring.
Nobody likes what's happening, but we have to get healthy.
Sean Toll, Denver 7.
The 7-Eleven on East Iliff in Aurora and Olive Garden in Pueblo, a Papa Murphy's in Denver are now among the notable additions to Colorado's list of active COVID outbreaks. At nearly 2,700 cases, the University of Colorado Boulder remains the most active hotspot in our state.
Small businesses that received loans during the first round of the Paycheck Protection Program are now allowed to apply again. Monday and Tuesday were reserved solely for those who didn't make the cut the first time around. New protections are also in place to ensure large corporations don't steamroll the little guys, and businesses will need to provide further proof that they actually need the money.
Going back and kind of looking at the documentation on the front end. And actually, we did change second draw so that the number of employees is actually less. So the maximum that you can have is 300 or some kind of size standard. And in addition to that, you actually have to prove that you had a reduction in revenues from some quarter in 2019 to some quarter in 2020 of 25%. So we really are looking at businesses that were still hurting.
The Paycheck Protection Program is complicated, but there are people out there who can help you navigate it. And we have posted a list of resources on thedenverchannel.com.
Second round of stimulus payments came with half as much cash, but just as many problems. As Denver 7's Jacqueline Allen reports tonight, many would-be recipients have been held in check.
The second stimulus checks, meant to be a financial shot in the arm.
Why aren't you reaching out to us?
For many have become a pain in the...
I definitely don't understand why it has to be so difficult.
Glendale resident Rhonda Wetzig and her husband had no trouble with their first stimulus check, but the second came up short.
We definitely needed that $186. That was the difference. And I can't find any information, so that's why I reached out.
She's not the only one reaching out to Contact Denver 7. A lot of people are telling us they haven't gotten their stimulus payment at all, and the clock is ticking.
By law, the IRS has to issue stimulus payments by January 15th, but the rollout hasn't exactly been smooth.
There's a lot of hype about this.
Aurora resident Polly Keener was impatiently waiting for his payment when TurboTax sent this message. Millions of payments were sent to wrong accounts because of an IRS error.
I mean, $600. Lights stay on, groceries get paid for.
He just got his money, but an unknown number of people are still waiting. You're supposed to be able to check the status of your payment on the IRS website. Just like last time, though, some people are getting this response: status not available. We checked. The IRS website now says if you get this response, you will not receive a second payment and must claim it on your 2020 tax return. We still don't know why Rhonda didn't get her full amount.
It just says if you don't get the full amount, that this is what you need to do.
But we did find out she needs to claim a recovery rebate credit when she files her taxes.
And when I do my 2020 taxes, I will definitely do the recovery credit and see what happens.
Not exactly what Congress had in mind for immediate relief. Jacqueline Allen for Contact Denver 7.
The Broncos have a new boss. We'll tell you all about him after the break.
This cold front won't bring much moisture, but it'll bring a whole lot of wind tonight and tomorrow.
Denver 7 Sports, and the Broncos got their man today, hiring. Hey, what's up, Maddie? Can you hear me? All right, thank you.
Hey, Matt.
I bet, well, I'll be quiet.
10 seconds. 5.
Colorado could gain another congressional seat once the census results are in.
Which means we not only need to redraw the lines, but we have to find people we can trust to do it right. Denver 7's Lance Hernandez has that story.
We want to make sure that maps aren't gerrymandered.
10 years ago, legislative leadership, the governor, and Chief Justice appointed a commission to do legislative redistricting. Jessica Shipley was on the staff.
I can tell you that the perception was that deals were being made in back rooms.
The legislative committee assigned to do congressional reapportionment couldn't come to agreement.
So the court system had to draw our congressional map last time.
In 2018, voters empowered independent commissions to redraw legislative and congressional boundaries.
They can't be politicians, they can't be lobbyists, they can't be political insiders. And that means that we should get a process that is really fair.
The selection process is underway now. Retired judges will select 12 people for both commissions, for Democrats, for Republicans, and for unaffiliated. They must reflect the demographics of the state.
They're looking for applicants who can demonstrate an ability to form consensus.
Once selected, the commissioners will conduct 21 meetings, getting input from urban areas and rural areas and from people with differing outlooks on everything from energy to regulation. The goal, to get 8 districts of equal population.
If the public wants to draw maps and kind of evaluate our maps or submit their own maps.
Whether you're a teacher, a farmer, business owner, roughneck, or looking for a job, you can have a voice in the process. The maps have to be drawn by September. The hope is that they're drawn in a process that voters believe is fair. Lance Hernandez, Denver 7.
Well, it turns out Colorado Springs will not be home to Space Command after all. The agency announced today it's going to set up permanent headquarters at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama. Governor Polis called the change politically motivated.
Strong winds have swept into Colorado, and they don't appear to be going away anytime soon. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson. Mike, winds were clocked at above 70 miles an hour today?
Already in the foothills and some of the western suburbs, the wind's been screaming as a cold front moves through the area. So we are under Denver 7 Weather Action Day. Not because of snow, but because of wind tonight and tomorrow. Strong winds and colder tonight will drop to 37 by 11 p.m. Today, though, in advance of the cold front that's bringing the wind, the high reached 63, which is almost 20 degrees warmer than the average high for this time of January and just 6 shy of the record set in 1996. And currently, we're down to 52 at the airport, 54 degrees at our studios. The pressure's rising. Winds are out of the west at 17 miles per hour. This is what it looked like up on the Continental Divide late this afternoon, the evening, and that is our anemometer at Loveland Ski Area that's up there at 11,700 feet. Look at the winds right now at Berthoud Pass, 63 miles per hour, 43 miles per hour at Berthoud, or at Broomfield rather, and 36 currently at Fort Morgan. And across the Front Range, temperatures are going to be colder tonight, and the winds will make it feel even worse. It's 55 mile per hour gusts right now at Sterling. Needless to say, there is a high wind warning in effect until 6 o'clock tomorrow evening across northeastern Colorado. Parts of Denver are not in the warning because we'll get the strong winds in the foothills. They'll kind of bounce over the metro and redevelop again on the plains, but it'll still move your trash cans around big time here all across the Denver metro area. There's the cold front, and there's also a fire weather warning for the extreme eastern part of Colorado because of those strong winds. 28 tonight, Denver, Greeley, Fort Collins, 9 at Leadville, 8 at Gunnison. Front range numbers are going to be in the teens in the mountains, 20s to near 30 on the plains. Blowing snow in the mountains, strong winds and blowing dust on the plains tomorrow. Mostly sunny, windy and cold by midday, and by late in the day, clear and cold. Winds will diminish some tomorrow evening. Colder tomorrow, only 40 for Denver and Greeley, 42 at Fort Collins, 19 at Leadville. Front range numbers, teens and 20s in the mountains. It'll feel a lot colder than that because of the strong winds. Tonight, winds increase, 28 for a low. Tomorrow, windy and 40 on the extended forecast. Friday's a nicer day, not as warm as today, but not as windy as tomorrow it'll be 47, mostly sunny. A few flurries Saturday, mostly sunny Sunday, and then Monday and Tuesday clouds increase, some light snow or flurries coming up again on Tuesday. Main weather threat tonight through tomorrow afternoon, the strong winds.
All right, thank you, Mike. Hey, everybody, I'm Lionel Bienvenu. Welcome to Denver 7 Sports. And the Broncos got their man today, hiring George Paton as the team's new general manager, as the man to replace John Elway in running the Broncos. Paton got a 6-year contract finalized over dinner last night at Elway's. Makes sense to me. Anyway, John described Paton as someone who waited and worked for the right opportunity, which shows that he is smart and serious about winning. And they were very happy to get somebody with so much experience. Now, Paton, he's done it all in Minnesota. He says his drafting and developing players will be the number one priority. Over the last 10 years with the Vikings, Minnesota drafted 13 Pro Bowlers. That is tied for the most in the NFL during that stretch, including running back Dalvin Cook and all-pro receiver Justin Jefferson. Now, Paton also played college football as a special teamer at UCLA. The Broncos posted a message from their new GM on social media.
Hey Broncos country, this is George Paton, and I'm excited to be the general manager of the Denver Broncos. With a great fan base and winning tradition, me and my family are fired up to join the Denver community. Look forward to getting to work and seeing you soon. Thank you.
All right, George, probably see you sometime next week. Now, our Broncos insider Troy Rank spent the day talking to people who know George Paton and know how he operates. So let's get more on the new GM. Here's Troy.
So why is George Paton the right man for this job? It really goes back to his philosophy. His number one priority, draft and development, and his resume supports that. Over the past 10 years, the Vikings have drafted 13 Pro Bowlers. That's tied for the most in the NFL. That includes guys like running back Dalvin Cook and all-pro rookie receiver Justin Jefferson. And who is George Paton? It says a lot about him. He played 4 years at UCLA as a defensive back and a special teamer. He is a grinder, his friends told me. He embraces the 18-hour workday, and he's definitely not a puppet. He will make the tough decisions. And remember this, in 6 playoff appearances with the Vikings, they had 6 different quarterbacks. So look for him to, at the very least, bring in veteran competition for Drew Lock at that position.
All right, thanks, Troy. Now, the other big story of the night, the Avs start the quest for the Cup, going against the Blues at Ball Arena. You know, any other opening night would be a sold-out arena. The atmosphere would be fantastic. Anyway, no fans allowed in there to see it tonight. But no matter, Avs have to focus on the business at hand.
We know what our focus is, so it wouldn't matter if the season's 10 games or 56 games or 82 games or 182 games for that matter. It doesn't really matter to us. Our goal is, process driven, and it's about being the best version of ourselves we can be right from day one.
Very excited to go out and start the season, and especially here at home ice, and very excited and get started here on the right foot.
All right, guys, that's all for now. We'll see you back here at 10 with the Avs and Blues.